Hello everybody and welcome to Metro TV. We have a great show today. I'm interviewing Patricia Kearns from QLI, the Executive Director. Also on the show, a couple folks from Heartland Family Service talking about their salute to families. And we have Laura Stastny from Nebraska Wildlife Rehab talking about how you can help the wildlife in our community. So don't go away, we will be right back. And welcome back. I am here with Karen Berkeley, Nicole Tromler, Heartland Family Services. Karen, you are the Salute to Families General Chair, and we're going to talk about the event here in a minute. And Nicole, you're here, the Family Services Development Manager. Yes. And I first just want to talk about Heartland Family Services. I mean, tell us about the mission and you know what the importance is in the community.
Absolutely. So Heartland Family Service is a local human services nonprofit. We've been around for about 150 years. We serve over 52,000 people every year in the areas of child and family, housing and financial stability, and counseling and prevention. So we are really making a large impact as a local organization in the most vulnerable parts of our population.
Yeah. And I know there's a big event coming up because you have several events throughout the year, but the one coming up in November is Salute to Families. I've been into it many times, and it's really a great way to just honor really and recognize special families in the community. So Karen, you're the general chair, so tell us a little bit about the event.
Well, actually the event started in 1982 as kind of a kickoff for Nebraska's way of dealing with National Family Week, which is an overall national event. The President of the United States actually proclaims this as the week actually before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And so usually and traditionally, the event is held the Thursday before Thanksgiving. It will be the same this year at Happy Hollow Club, and it honors 4 families in 4 different areas as well as a family advocate within the community. And it's just a great way that Heartland Family Service chooses to honor strong families in our community and to show part of their mission and how that is actually being laid out within families in the city of Omaha.
Yeah, so I'm looking here, so some of the families being honored are Senator Ben and Diane Nelson. They're the Leadership Family honorees. Ira Combs, Family Advocate honoree. Willie, is it Podesta? Young, Community Service honoree. Dr. Idling and Reverend William Williams Jr. Am I saying all these right?
Yes, you are.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Challenged and Successful Family honorees, and then Malia and David Bancat, Commitment to Family honorees.
Correct.
So, so again, this event, I was there last year, and I've been many times before because a lot of the people that I know in the community, and you know, some of the well-known people, but then you have these families that are just doing such great things that nobody knows about, and they just show up kind of against all odds,
Right.
and make everything work and really contribute to other families. So Thursday, tell me the date
November 15th.
Okay.
It'll be at Happy Hollow Club starting at 6 o'clock.
Okay. So what can we expect? So I know we're gonna pay tribute to these families, but what can we expect at this event as well?
Well, there's a social hour that begins at 6 o'clock where the guests will all get to meet and greet the honorees and their families. And then at 6:30, there's a sit-down dinner that is followed by a program and the award ceremony. There also is a video presentation where the families are actually interviewed and tell their stories, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's incredibly impactful.
Right. And each and every honoree has their own story and of why they're being honored, and that really is shown in these videos. They all have special qualities, special circumstances, but they've all overcome challenges in one way or another and have impacted their lives, their families' lives, and our community. So.
Yeah. So how can people purchase tickets?
Do you want me to comment on that one? Sure. So tickets are still available. They're $60 each, or tables of 10 are $600. And you can go on our website, which is heartlandfamilyservice.org, or you can give Brenna a call, and she's at 402-552-7426.
And let's also, I just want to talk about, so this year we've got the people being honored, but what about next year? Can people nominate a family?
They can, and we love that. We encourage that greatly because then that helps us have a wide variety of families to be able to honor. And so at the beginning of every year, we'll have that available on our website. And so first of the year, go on heartlandfamilyservice.org and you can go ahead and nominate a family. And so that process kind of looks like we accept nominations through the spring, and then we have a panel of community leaders that will then go ahead and make the final selections of honorees for the year.
Okay. Again, I've been to this event many times, and it's just such a big, it's just a celebration of all the different just types of families in our community, because a lot of them I know, a lot of them I don't know, but they're just doing amazing things. And then it all ties back to Heartland Family Services as well as and what you guys do for the community. So I just want to thank Nicole, thank you, Karen, for being on the show with me today.
Well, thank
and
you.
again, the website one more time.
heartlandfamilyservice.org.
Okay, all right, thanks so
you.
much, and we will be right back. And welcome back. I'm here with Laura Stastny. She is with Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, Executive Director. Laura, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You have been, first of all, I love Nebraska Wildlife Rehab.
Thank you.
You've helped me over the years, and we may chat about that. I'll tell a few of those stories in a little bit, but just tell our viewers, what is Nebraska Wildlife Rehab?
Sure. Nebraska Wildlife Rehab is a Nebraska-based organization with a twofold mission. We're here to rescue, rehabilitate, and return to the wild native wildlife. And we're also here to educate the public about native wildlife, how to live in harmony with it, and really to help people understand how unique and amazing the ecosystems right here in Nebraska are.
Yeah, so you have, there's some things that have happened this year that are new. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that's happening year over year now, it's kind of not new anymore, is that we continue to have record years. So this year we will end the year having rescued more than 6,000 wild animals. For the second time in the last 3 years, we've gone over the 6,000 mark. And I feel like that's going to be our new norm. The more that people know about us, and also the more that people understand that wildlife is worth saving, the more they're going to bring them to us. We're also the wildlife partner for the Nebraska Humane Society, so we get a lot of wildlife from them every year. So year over year, and in the last 20 years since we started, we're just growing so fast year over year. Another thing that happened this year is that we got a second site for rehab. So we've leased another site, and on that site we now have added 30 outdoor cages for wildlife. Okay. We also have 3 indoor spaces for rehabilitation because we had outgrown our center in Louisville and needed more space. That new site has also allowed us to add a second-tier advanced internship for university students. So for students wanting to come in and get advanced medical knowledge and advanced husbandry knowledge about wildlife, we were able to add that this year. So that was really exciting.
So my question when you say rescue wildlife, I just want you to kind of get more specific about what does that mean when you rescue wildlife? Why would people bring you? Why would people call you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are there for animals that are orphaned, that are injured or are ill for some reason. We take those animals and we rehabilitate them. So we provide appropriate medical care. Perhaps it's bottle feeding baby mammals or hand feeding baby birds that no longer have parents, and then getting them ready to return to the wild. Our goal for all of our wildlife is a life back in the wild where they belong.
So is there any instance, because again, I've called you a couple times for finding a squirrel, a little baby squirrel running around the street that obviously got kicked out of the nest or fell out of the nest. and I ended up taking the squirrel to one of your kind of foster homes.
You bet.
Also, I had birds in my dryer.
Right,
A bird in my dryer. So, I mean, from what instance to what? I mean, is there anything that you just won't?
Yeah, so sometimes we won't take animals because it's more of an education issue.
Okay.
And not a time when the animal really needs our help.
Okay.
So a for example would be, a lot of times people will have raccoons with babies in their chimneys. That's not a time to take those babies away from their mother.
Okay.
It is a time to help people encourage the mother to take her own babies and move somewhere else so that they're no longer living inside a person's house. And so that's where our education kicks in. Not only are we out in the schools doing education or do we have our internship program, but we're also educating people every day on the phone, on social media, about how to live in harmony with wildlife. And if you have what you would call a nuisance issue, we call those just a conflict, but a lot of people call them nuisance issues. If you have that, there's a way to resolve that humanely without trapping and relocating, without hurting the animal, and to make sure that mothers stay with their babies. And that's all part of our education mission. And we do that every day, 365 days a year.
Yeah. So how can people, so wanting to educate themselves on animals, go to your website, obviously.
Absolutely. Our website is nebraskawildliferehab.org. And on that site, we have extensive information about when is a baby animal orphaned, when does it need help, and when should it be left alone, what to do if you have a nuisance issue or if you have questions about the wildlife that you see in your yard. We have all of that kind of outlined on our website. And then people can get to us through email, Facebook, telephone, Instagram, kind of everywhere.
Yeah, because I know your Facebook site is great as well because you have lots of information that's pushed out through there. I even saw, I want to touch on is it the chipmunk? No, the groundhog. The groundhog.
Oh, the prairie dogs.
The
that we
prairie
did this
dogs,
year.
yes, the prairie dogs.
Absolutely.
You did a really great kind of a little documentary about how you were relocating them.
Mm-hmm. So normally, what we always want people to understand is that a last resort for wildlife is to relocate it.
Yeah.
Normally, we do not relocate wildlife. We had a very unique situation happen this spring, and that was that a native prairie with a large prairie dog colony, over 300 prairie dogs, was sold into agriculture south of York. And the person who bought it plowed it up and put it into soy, that's why they had bought it, and put the entire colony in danger. Prairie dogs are one of these animals that don't have any protections in Nebraska. There are a lot of perceived conflicts with prairie dogs in farmers and ranchers. But the reality about prairie dogs is that they're a keystone species. They are emblematic of the Great Plains and the prairies. And as a keystone species, they not only support themselves within their colonies, but also a myriad of other animals, lots of reptiles and amphibians, insects, the black-footed ferret, the endangered black-footed ferret, badgers, everything else. And so what we went in and did, because we had no choice, the prairie dogs couldn't stay there, is that we partnered with a few other organizations, and Nebraska Wildlife Rehab went in and ran the entire trapping operation. So we were able to trap, in just a few weeks, we were able to trap 233 prairie dogs of all ages, and we moved them to a new prairie site up in north central Nebraska near the Niobrara River. And we're continuing to monitor that colony. That not only, we were already aware of the plight of prairie dogs in Nebraska. We're a small organization, we're very busy, so we educate people about prairie dogs, but we hadn't really gotten involved so much. But that has jump-started a collaboration that we're going to be working on over the winter, and that is to make Nebraska a better place for prairie dogs and give us more options and give landowners more options for having prairie dog colonies if they want them. So that's one of the things that we're launching in 2019 is a real advocacy program for prairie dogs in Nebraska.
Yeah, that just really, I mean, that really, it just impacted me, that little documentary that you did.
Yeah, and it's on Facebook, so people can go and see it.
And the important work. So before we end, so we're getting into the winter seasons. What are things that you're going to be on the lookout for, or what do you get calls for this time of year?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the winter, we always call it slow season. And you know, back when I first started, that might have meant a few dozen animals at a time. Slow season for us now, we maintain about 200 animals at all time. In the summer, sometimes it's 1,000 animals at once. But so right now it's bat season. So because we've had a hard freeze and there aren't very many insects, we're going to start getting bats that will hibernate over the winter. So we'll get over about 400 over the winter. It's also migratory bird season. Nebraska's on the central flyway for migratory birds. And so we're starting to we've got pelicans in, sora, which are wading birds. We've got gulls in, lots of different birds that migrate through our area that have been injured on migration. So we're handling those guys.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're doing right now is that next year is our 20th anniversary. So we're super excited about that. It's also the 10th anniversary of our partnership with the Jocelyn Art Museum for bat release.
For the bat release, yes.
Yep. And so next year we have a ton of public outreach planned. We're going to do something monthly. We're going to have Wildlife Wednesdays monthly that brings wildlife speakers to our community for free. People can just come and learn about different wildlife topics. We're going to have an additional speaker series. And we're also going to have a couple of wildlife trivia nights. So we're going to try to get people out and really engage on the issues about wildlife in Nebraska. And we just want people to celebrate with us. We couldn't do our work without our community. And so we just want to get out there and really be in the community in 2019.
All right. I'm so excited about that. So we'll be in close contact.
Wonderful.
And pushing out information for you. So one last time. Website is
nebraskawildliferehab.org.
Okay, and I also want to mention they do have a great profile in our annual giving guide, so you can go to spiritofomaha.com and check that out. Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you,
really
Andy.
excited about the next year and everything that's going on.
So are we. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. And we'll be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Patricia Kearns. She is the president and CEO of QLI. Patricia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here.
Yeah, and so you were one of our what we call our game changers, and this is a feature that we do in every issue that's a collaboration with Planet Omaha. We pick out amazing women in the community to highlight, not just for your kind of what you do with QLI in the business sense, but also just how you contribute back to the community. So,
well, thank you. You have featured so many amazing women.
Yeah.
It is really, again,
well,
it's such an honor
I don't
to
know.
be here.
It was a no-brainer. So let's just talk a little bit. I just want to talk a little about you, kind of your background and where you came from, and then we'll get into your role at QLI. So let's just talk about talk about your childhood, where you came from, and all that good stuff.
So I grew up in a really small town in western Nebraska, a rural part of Nebraska, a small town called Gordon.
Yeah.
Beautiful community, about 2,500 people, and in that day, it was one of the safest communities you could imagine. We'd leave our door unlocked at night, leave your car unlocked with your purse on the front seat. You know, you could be gone all day as a child riding your bike around town, and just really, really a great experience as a child growing up.
Yeah. So through your educational career, because I want to kind of get to where you came to be at QLI. So just talk a little bit about, where you went to college and kind of how you find yourself at QLI.
You bet. Well, as much as I loved my small town, I knew we were about a little bit in the middle of nowhere, and I did want to move on and explore a career and opportunity. So I ended up at Doane College for 3 years, and then ended up in a graduate program for physical therapy at the University of Nebraska Medical Center here in town. My experience along the way, I suppose growing up in my small town, the experience I had along the way at each of those college settings was a great preparation for me, both from a work ethic standpoint, the education I received, to I suppose get me to where I am today.
Right. So you came into the QLI family as a physical therapist?
I did.
And so how many years ago was that?
That was almost 18 years ago,
Okay.
and wow, I was a young and clueless physical therapist. So while I received an amazing education at the university here in town, I was only about 2 years out of school when I was lucky enough to receive a phone call and a job offer from Dr. Kim Hoekveen, our founding CEO. And well, I had been practicing orthopedics for a couple of years and really didn't know anything about brain injury or spinal cord injury rehabilitation. So I have no idea to this day how I got the job. But I was lucky enough to get hired. And I think going into that position, QLI is such a unique setting. We have such a unique culture, a healthy culture. I think it was really to my benefit that I had no idea what I was doing, because it positioned me to be open. I had the work ethic to learn, but not knowing positioned me to be open to learning, allowed me to rely on the amazing team members I had around me to teach me, to push me, to give me feedback, and to help me grow. And I value that.
So when you were hired into that position 18 years ago, did you aspire to be leading the company? I mean, what were your...
Absolutely not. Dr. Hogeveen will probably tell this story differently. He'll probably tell you that I always had my eye on the CEO role, but when I finished physical therapy school, I really, really enjoyed being a physical therapist. And my view of management at the time wasn't all that positive. It was the negative side of, handling things that were going wrong, sitting behind a desk. And my focus was really on helping people. And so after physical therapy school, I really had my mindset that I didn't want to have anything to do with a management type of position. And that was true when I went into QLI. I really didn't have any desire to do that.
Well, let's spend the next few minutes, 5 minutes, talking about QLI. And in a nutshell, what is QLI?
You bet. So we are a nationally recognized rehabilitation and long-term care facility focused on serving individuals who have a brain injury or spinal cord injury. I know you've been to campus, so I think on a day-to-day basis, and thank you for coming, on a day-to-day basis, I think I might describe it as a community of individuals who are there to bring the best out in each other. Our focus on the individuals we serve, the families we serve, but also our focus on our team members and on each other. How can we come together as a community to bring the best out in each other?
Because you're not only nationally recognized, but aren't you like one of the best places to work, not just in Omaha, but around the country? Or
You bet. Well, we've received the Best Place to Work award 7 times here in Omaha, as well as 2 Sustained Excellence awards. If you keep talking about it, I'll keep bragging about it. But we are really, really proud of the effort that we put into building and maintaining a healthy culture at QLI.
So we talked a little bit about your career path. Let's just talk a little bit more about QLI. I mean, one of the things I was reading, because we have this great article again on you in the October-November issue, there's mentorship. You talk a lot about mentorship and connecting with different nonprofits in the community with that.
So, absolutely. Well, I'm a product of mentoring myself. I can remember back to junior high, the mentors I had in my teachers and coaches, and certainly at QLI, mentors Dr. Hogeveen, a number of other leaders at QLI who were willing to take time away from what they were doing to invest in my success. And since I've been in this role, I've had a number of female leaders from across the community that have been willing to support me. And I feel an obligation to pay that forward to other up-and-coming leaders, male or female, but in particular female leaders that are looking to develop their career. So I love mentoring. I'm a teammates mentor. We have almost 40 teammate mentors at QLI, mostly in the North Omaha area. We love the teammates organization. I have an 8th grader that I have the pleasure of spending time with once a week. She is lovely. I enjoy that process. We, as an organization, we do a lot of work with UNO. They've been such a terrific support to us, and we've had a chance to be part of their programs as well. Coach Lang, Brittany Lang, has done a phenomenal job of building a mentoring program for the UNO women's basketball team, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of that. So I have a chance to mentor one of the women's basketball players, and an amazing, she's a sophomore this year. The team's going to be fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited about it.
How exciting, because I know you're also a mother, you've got a family, and so balancing your QLI, your position there and really making a huge impact. You also have your family, which is great. I want to talk a little bit about the expansion of the campus, because it does continue to grow, and I've seen that. I mean, I've been doing what I've been doing for 28 years. So we were just talking before we got on on film about the 20 years ago is when you did the
expanded our East Campus. So so we're celebrating overall our 28th anniversary this year of our doors opening on the rehab campus. We did a major expansion in 1998 and opened a long-term care campus, and we've added on to that a few times, and we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of that this month of our long-term care campus, which is exciting. But we have a bunch of dreamers at QLI, a bunch of dreamers and a bunch of doers, and there is an endless amount of new ideas about how we can improve our services. We can add on to to what we're doing to serve this really complex
Right.
population of individuals, opportunities, new opportunities that align with our strengths as an organization. And so lots of new ideas that are constantly in the funnel for us, and people who are willing to put forth the effort to make some of those ideas a reality. So we have an endless amount of things, I think,
Right.
coming up for our future.
So just a couple other things before we end. You have like, this is a transitional space for a lot of people, that they come there and they're there for, I mean, not that long,
Right.
maybe 90 days.
Yeah, about 3 months, 3.5 months on our rehab program.
And then you've got some people that are there for the most part for the
Right.
rest of their life.
Yep.
Just talk a little bit about that and how, kind of the percent, how many people that are just
Sure.
there for 3 months, how many,
You bet. So on our rehab campus, we have 60 beds, and we are serving almost 200 individuals and their families from
Okay.
across the country who come to us anywhere from 30 days to about 9 months.
Yeah.
Our average length of stay about 3 months. But our focus is on helping those individuals recover physically, cognitively, emotionally, and helping the individuals and their family address the social barriers they may be facing in order to get back to life.
Yes.
On our long-term care campus, we're serving almost 125 individuals, young adults who have suffered a severe brain injury or a high spinal cord injury. And while their life has been turned upside down by this injury, we've been able to provide a space where individuals really can be as independent, as healthy as they possibly can be, but most importantly, they can engage in life and find
Right.
a way to be happy again.
Yeah. So last question.
Okay.
What are you most excited about?
Well, home, Halloween, my favorite holiday.
Right.
My 5-year-old just can't wait. Candy, costumes, it's perfect. At QLI, we have a lot of really exciting things coming
Yeah.
up. We just launched a new telerehabilitation business this month. I'm excited to get that going and see it grow. And celebrating our 20th anniversary at QLI is
Yes.
exciting as well. But we're facing a lot of challenges as an organization right now, Medicaid funding and other things. But I think with
Sure.
those challenges, there's always opportunity. There's opportunity
Yeah.
to get better and grow, and that's what our team's focused on.
So people can learn more about QLI at website?
TeamQLI.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And I just want to say their profile is in our annual giving guide, so check that out as well to find out ways to give back. And we will be right back. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to remind you to go vote for your favorite charity event at spiritofomaha.com. You can also read the latest issue online at spiritofomaha.com as well. And we look forward to seeing you back here next week. So have a great week.